Hello, this is Bill Bullard with R-CALF USA, the voice of the independent cattle producer in the United States of America. Well, every few years, your Beef Checkoff program adopts a new beef industry long-range plan, and the hand-picked industry representatives that develop the plan take many months to complete it. The sponsors of the beef industry long-range plan include the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, or NCBA, and the NCBA's subsidiary, the Federation of State Beef Councils. So the NCBA unveiled the latest beef industry long-range plan during its summer meetings in July. According to reports, the long-range plan is then used by the Beef Checkoff program as its guidebook, and all checkoff funding decisions and focus areas of checkoff projects and programs, by design, must follow the key areas outlined in the long-range plan. In other words, your checkoff dollars are used to carry out the NCBA's long-range plan. So let's take a look at it. The 2011 Beef Industry Long-Range Plan had two primary themes: increase beef demand and increase exports. The 2016 Long-Range Plan maintained the primary themes of increasing beef demand and increasing exports, and then added a third, which was to adopt animal identification traceability systems. Now, it's no surprise that the 2021 Long-Range Plan's primary themes continue calling for increased beef demand, increasing exports, adopting cattle traceability systems, and now it adds creating a verification system for beef quality assurance, or BQA. Now, producers should critically consider what this beef industry plan is really trying to accomplish. On the one hand, it continues beating the drum for increased beef demand and increased exports. And on the other, it continually encroaches upon every cattle producer's liberty and freedom by progressively adding elements with which to control the cattle producer's access to the marketplace. For example, the element of verifying a producer's BQA performance is a compliance measurement, just like individual animal identification. And as every industry leader knows, once you can measure compliance of industry participants, then you can begin to control them. And this is the heart of the Global Roundtable for Sustainable Beef. You first get the industry to do what already appears to be a good idea, and that puts them on the path they call continuous improvement, meaning you're required to continue adding to the number of new production steps that you must comply with if you want to profitably sell your cattle. So R-CALF USA stands against this notion of continuous improvement that originates not from competitive forces in the marketplace, but from hand-picked representatives of some of the largest agribusinesses in America. Instead, we think a competitive marketplace is the only appropriate initiator of industry improvements, which we define as changing production practices or adding to what you're already doing in anticipation of receiving an economic reward from the marketplace itself. Everything else is simply top-down control that interferes with competitive market forces. But let's take a critical look at the two primary themes: increasing beef demand and increasing exports. This has been the common themes of beef industry representatives for decades. Anytime the concern is raised that cattle prices are depressed when compared to retail beef prices, the beef industry tells us we must increase beef demand and increase exports. This is their unending mantra. So what if the entire cattle industry works to accomplish these two principal goals, and yet cattle prices continue falling? What do you do then? And that's exactly what's happened. You increased beef demand by an astounding 15% from January 2012 to 2018. And in 2018, you achieved the highest exports in history, both in terms of volume and value. So by 2018, you accomplished exactly what they told you to do by increasing both beef demand and beef exports. And your reward was continually depressed cattle prices. Fed cattle prices were over $4 a hundredweight less in 2018 than they were the previous year. But the packers did well, and the exporters did well, as a result of the millions of dollars of your investments into the Beef Checkoff program. You, however, didn't do so good. And that's the point. The beef industry, meaning the manufacturing, exporting, and distribution industry beyond the live cattle industry, continues to convince cattle producers to focus on what's good for the beef industry, regardless of its effects on the cattle industry. And this must change. And today you have an opportunity to make that change and to do what's good for you and your fellow cattle producers. You can go to www.weneedabeefcheckoffvote.com and sign the petition calling for a referendum of the current beef checkoff program. Well, thanks for helping. And again, that website is www.weneedabeefcheckoffvote.com. Well, thank you and have a productive week.